Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this specific video, we will be discussing about the interview questions with respect to the machine learning part per se. If you remember, I would say a few months back, I have launched one video by the name of Top 25 Interview Questions Widely Asked in ML Interviews. And you guys shown a lot of, love and support on that video. So I thought that let's create one more video with respect to the same. But in this video, we will be focusing on the frameworks of machine learning. For example, today the focus is on Pandas framework. I will be using the Leetcode platform and showcase you that how basically if you're applying for any company, you can also practice the questions on Leetcode, and that will definitely will be helpful for you to crack the product based companies. So I will try to showcase all my experience and will try to showcase how basically I usually solve these questions on Leetcode platform, and how basically it will be really helpful for me as well. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So here you can see that this is a Leetcode platform which we will be using today. Believe me that this platform really helped me personally to enhance my technical skills, to crack the interviews of big product based companies in the past. And I would highly suggest you all to explore this platform, right? Initially, there was this platform was designed just to the focus of DSA, but now as the advancement is coming up, as the people are more focusing towards the AI and data science stuff, so they have launched few more stuffs on top of this platform where you can see system design is there, you can see machine learning frameworks interview questions are there, you can see SQL specific questions are there, and that's why I really like this platform. How whenever let's say you are applying for any interviews and you want to prepare like what kind of questions will be asked from me personally, one important and interesting thing about this platform is this discuss section. Whenever you will go to this discuss section, you can find out with respect to the different companies, people have mentioned that what kind of questions have been asked from them, what is the kind of salary expectation you can take, right? From the interviews. For example, let's say if I want to apply for if I have an interview, for example, let's say for the position of software engineer, let's suppose, and in the let's say Google specific company, so you will be able to see that there will be a Google software engineer ML round for the interviews per se. So here someone has asked, but there is no such response. But here you can see that people have shared their experiences, whether they have selected or rejected. That in the phone screening round, what kind of questions Google have asked from them, right? And then in the graduation level, what kind of questions have been asked from them. Similarly, you can refer to any of the company. For example, let's say I want to focus on Walmart. You can see the experiences of Walmart as well. Senior software engineer, Bangalore, interview prep. So what I'm trying to convey here is that this platform is really helpful. For example, some people usually ask from me that, Priya, how will we get to know that, what kind of salary expectations we will put to the HR? You can refer this platform for the same. Another interesting thing, which is today's focus, is that you can see, right, there are top interview 150 questions. This is specifically for the, I would say, DSA specific rounds. Now, although we are discussing with respect to machine learning stuff here, but always remember that DSA is something which will be very widely asked from you, specifically if you're preparing for the product based companies like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. So what will happen is the initial rounds will be of your DSA rounds, and then after that only your knowledge of machine learning will be checked. So please make sure that you will enhance the practice of this DSA as well, as I always focus on that part also. Now in today's session, our focus is to see this Pandas framework. Here you can see, right, there are multiple problems that we have, and for now, today in this session, I will showcase you the easier level problems, and in the upcoming sessions, maybe we will try to see that how basically we can practice the hard level problems also. So here you can see that there are multiple things. 30 days challenge, I would highly request everyone to practice the essential for Pandas interview questions also at your own pace. You can see there are multiple questions that we have. Today, our focus is to work upon 15 problems of Pandas framework, but definitely in the upcoming part, we can also see with respect to the 30 questions. But if I won't curate that, please make sure you will practice on your own, right? That is the main idea. So here you can see, maybe I will go for this one. So I have curated a new sign in on my different email ID. That is why this is showing up. If you are also doing for a very first time, by curating a new email ID, the fresh content will come up. So here you can see, right? The very first question is the creation of a data frame from a list. Now here you can see what they're saying is write a solution to create a data frame. It's a very simple question from a to-do list called student underscore data. And what we want is we want to convert this list into a data frame. So how that conversion can be done? So what we can do is we can maybe say student underscore ID is the name of the data frame that we have. And once you will use this function, so basically when you will solve these questions, you will have the idea, although maybe you remember these functions, but what happens is when interviewer will provide you this kind of questions, sometimes we have a confusion that, okay, what function we should apply, or we don't get that idea. So once you practice these questions, you will be in a situation that you will be easily able to answer all the questions, right? So what you can do is now you have a list is of the name student underscore data, and I think our name of the data frame is also the same. So you all know, right? This data period or data frame function will help us to convert the list to a data frame. And finally, what we can do is we can simply return student underscore data. Now, the important thing whenever you're working on this platform is there are two things you're supposed to do in every question. And that's the main focus of today's session, to just showcase you that how basically you can practice. So once you run this code, you will be able to see that whether this code is running on the present test cases. For example, for now, it is saying to me that there is an error in your code. Now let's see what is that error it is showcasing to me. So here for now it is taking up 0 and 1. But what they want as a column name as student ID and age. So what we're supposed to do, maybe we're supposed to add the columns. So my columns names are student underscore ID and comma, you will be able to see we will be having age. And now I feel it should look great. Let's try to rerun the code again. So this is where you will get an idea. So one thing you have to make sure that whatever be the expected output is given to you, you have to frame your result in that manner only. Otherwise your test cases will not pass and you will face the trouble. And this is what usually happens in the interviews. What happens is many students are having that awareness that, okay, what kind of functions we have to use, but they don't know that how basically we have to show to the platform what kind of results we have. We are having an expectation, so you have to exactly showcase to them. For example, previously when I was doing the code, I have used the same function, but the only thing is I have not used the same column, and that is why it is showcasing me the error. But now it is working fine. So once you will submit this code, you will be able to see that it will be submitted. This is what you have to make sure, that whenever you are doing any question on Leetcode platform, first of all, you have to run this code. Once you run this code, it might be the case that for that specific test cases, your code is accepted. But when you're submitting the code, it will happen that internally multiple test cases will be there. So it will be working for all test cases. So you have to make sure that this code part should run for all the test cases internally. So that is something which is very, very important. Now let's jump to the second question. It is, I think, very easy. Now let's move to the second question of this platform. I think we have covered up first one. Let's go to the second one. Second one says that get the size of a data frame. So here what we want is the number of rows and the number of columns. So it's again very simple. We have a data frame given to us. I hope everyone knows that we have a function called as shape, right? And once you will use this function, maybe it will return two things, number of rows and number of columns. So I might store this in the form of number of rows as a variable and number of columns equal to this. And finally, what we can do is we can simply return in the form of a list the number of rows and the number of columns, right? The main idea to show you these code implementations in the live session itself means I'm doing the code with you. I feel that if you will also do with me, that will be really beneficial for you all. Rather than seeing that how basically I'm writing the code, maybe you can pause the video and try to think how will you write or how will you solve that problem, and then maybe you can recheck that what I am doing and what you are doing, is that same only, or is there any trouble you are facing? So you will get to know that what are your weak points personally, and you can improvise on top of that. So let's try to see whether we are getting a correct result or not, because here we want the result in the form of a list. So let's see, it is accepted. So let's try to submit this code, and here you can see, here we go, we will be able to get that code done. Now let's jump towards the third problem. I think till so far we have solved two problems, and the main idea is to solve all the problems. Let's see whether we will be able to solve all the problems or not. Here, the simple idea is to display the first three rows of a data frame. I think again, it's quite simple. I am looking for more challenging problem. Let's see. So you all know that we have a function of head, and in the if you, let's say, defining a default head function, it will give you a top 5 records, but what we want to look for is the 3 records as they have mentioned. So we have to specify the number. That's the beauty. If you will specify the number, it will just give you that many number of records. So let's try to again run this code, and let's see whether whatever knowledge we are expecting is correct or not. Let's try to submit this and check that whether it is passing all the test cases or not. And superb, it has passed all the test cases. Now let's go to the problem number 4, and let's see what it is showcasing to us. So first 3 problems are solved. You can see tick mark will be there once you solve the problem, right? You can just check that out, and if it is not there, just refresh your screen just like the way I am doing, and you will be able to see your tick marks. One thing you can see, right, they have divided the problems in a way that first problem is about Pandas data structure. Second problem which we have solved is about data inspection module. Third problem which we are solving is in the module under, I would say fourth problem is under the module of data selecting. So you all know that when we are doing a EDA in a machine learning project part per se, we have all these steps, right? So basically these things will be helping you to get an idea that whether you are good in these specific steps or not, right? In a way. So let's see what this problem is saying, selecting the data. So write a solution to select the name and age of the student with the student ID 101. So what they're saying is, now see, we have not written, we don't need to write a select command here. We have to write a command to do the query in the Pandas framework. So how can we do that? So I think you all know that we have one function called as lock, right? Which will be able to give me labeled indexes, and student ID 101 is a labeled index only. So what I want is student.lock. I want student underscore ID, which is equal to, we have to write obviously constraint 101. And wherever this constraint is satisfied, what we are looking for is the name, and what we are looking for is the age of that person, right? And here, I think this should work fine. And what they are displaying is the name and the age. That is the two things which they are displaying, right? So maybe we can store it in the form of name and age. But maybe what we can do is we can just directly, if we will be able to return the statement, let's see how basically it will work. Students.lock. What we are saying is at any point of time, if there is a match of this, just do one thing, give me the name and age. Let's try to see this, whether it is working fine or not. If there is any error, at that point of time, we will try to fix it. Yes, there is an error. So, obviously, I think we need to mention this specific column name inside the student's data frame. Then only it will be able to fetch, right? So this is wrong. Let me just rectify. Students is a data frame. I'm saying go inside the student ID as the column. Check that out. Wherever there is a match with 101, take that location and give me the name and the age. Now I feel it should work fine. Let's see. Yes, let's try to submit this code. And yes, it is working perfectly fine. So somewhat trouble, but I think now we will be able to get an idea. So always remember there are two things in Pandas framework that we have, log and ilog. Log basically focus on the labeled indexes that you have, I would say. When you're saying ilog, it specifically focus on the default indexes, which starts from 0 and will go until the value of n minus 1. Because they have specified that you have to take that index which is having a student ID as 101. So definitely that is for sure that we have to go for this log function only. So what we have done is we have just tried to do the comparison first, that wherever there is a match with 101, give me the list of name and age, and that is what we have done. So let's go back to the next particular question in our series of today's part. Create a new column, right? Okay, so what we want is, they want me to create a new column by the name of bonus. I think it's quite easy. So what we can do is we can say employees. I hope you all know, to curate a new column you can just say bonus, and equals to, what you can do is you can simply write that double the values of the salary column. So in the employees of salary, this is the column that you have, do the multiplication with 2. And finally, what you can do is you can return the updated employees table that you have. Just return this. Let's wait for a while, and it's working perfectly fine. Great, superb. Let's move ahead to the next question. So data selecting part is done. We have 2 questions. We have solved it. Now in data cleaning, we have multiple questions. Let's see one by one. Drop duplicate rows. It's interesting. So what they are saying is that there are some duplicate rows in data frame based on the email column. Okay, yes, we can see that this joan@example.com is having 2 values. So we have to remove one of them. So what they are saying is remove the duplicate rows and keep only the first occurrence. So can you guess what function we can use here? So I'm not sure that how many of you are aware, but in our Pandas framework, we have a function of drop underscore duplicates. So if I'll just showcase you drop underscore duplicates. In the Pandas framework, we have not this one, drop underscore duplicates. So let me just showcase you duplicates. The best thing is, whenever you want to see any function, just refer the documentation. You can see subset, you can see keep is by default first, means whatever record you want to keep, right? So here what I will do is I will try to maybe drop the duplicates by using this function only, pd dot drop underscore duplicates. And here inside that you can see one of the parameter is subset, means on which particular column you want to focus here to do the removal of a duplicacy. So for me, that subset wala column is email, right? Now once it is done, what I am doing is I want to store it in my, sorry, this is customers dot, right? Customers dot drop underscore duplicates, and maybe I can store it again in the customers data frame itself. And finally, I'll return the updated data frame that we have. So let's try to run this code. We'll see whether we get some error or not. Okay, running fine. Let's try to submit this part, and we'll see whether it's working fine or not. And superb, it is working perfectly fine. So please make sure that whenever a problem segment is given to you in an interview, where they want you to drop the duplicate values depending upon one specific column, so definitely consider this function as a go-to function, where you will be having 2 important parameters, as I showcase you, subset and keep. Subset is the column name which you have to specify. Keep is, for example, if they are saying second duplicate element you have to keep, so in that case you will keep as second. In place is by default false. If you want that on that specific data frame itself, changes will be reflected, so you have to make it true. I hope it is very easy, and you can easily do that. So now let's move ahead to the next question. First question we have finished. And second question is again interesting. This is a phase of data cleaning. Okay. So till so far, you can see we have finished 3, 4, 5, 6 question. Amazing. I think till so far we have not faced that much trouble. Let's see in the future we are facing the trouble or not. So there are some rows having missing values in the name column. Okay, we can see that. Okay, they are focusing specifically on the name column. That is what you have to focus on. Write a solution to remove the rows with the missing values. So again, their focus is to specifically focus on the name column. So here again we have a function of drop NA in pandas, which you can see here, right? So we can use this function. Here also we have a subset. So in my case, this subset will be name column, I feel. So what I will do is I will say students is equal to students dot drop NA. By the way, if there is any function you feel that you are not comfortable with, please refer the documentations which I'm showcasing you. And I feel then it will be very easy for you to solve these problems. And what you can return further is the students. And here you go. Just run this. It's accepted. Try to submit this. I feel it is working fine. Perfect. Let's go ahead to the next interesting question is to modify the columns. Let's see whether we will be able to modify or not. We have to modify the salary column by multiplying each salary by 2. Oh, interesting. So basically what we have to do is we have one column of employees as salary, and what they are saying to us is just modify this salary column with a given value into 2. Amazing. And then we have to return employees further. Let's see whether this will work fine or not. Okay, let's try to submit this. Amazing, amazing. Let's move ahead to the next question. Rename the columns. It's interesting. Sometimes, you will face this particular dilemma that you are working in your data set, and at the end of the day, just to make the code understandable and the data which you are getting as an output look understandable, you have to rename it. So again, we have a function called as students dot rename. Just make sure the internal things in the rename parameter will go as in dictionary. So you will say that initially I was having an ID in the column name. Rename it to, maybe you will say student underscore ID. Okay? Then you will say that I will be having a first as the, you can say, initial column. I want to rename it to the first underscore name. Similarly, you will say I will be having the last as the main header. I want to rename it to last underscore name. Similarly, I will be having a age. I want to rename it to age underscore in underscore years. And finally, once you will be able to get that part done, students, you can just rename it like that. You can return the data frame. Just run this out and see. Oh, there is some networking issue. Let's try to run this again. Oh, there is some wrong answer. So it doesn't renamed it. Let's see whether where we are going wrong. So there is a rename column pandas. I think this is the optimal index only, but let's try to see. Columns equals to, I think we have to specify, isn't it? Columns is equal to, and let's try to rerun this again, because renaming doesn't happen till so far. Oh, so as a parameter, we have to specify the columns equals to, see, this is where you have to practice. Otherwise, in your interviews, you will not able to write it down properly. Makes sense? Now it is done. Let's move to the next important, interesting question, that is to change the data type. It's interesting. Sometimes you, again, this is one of the very widely used functions which you will going to use in your daily work, right? For example, here they have provided us a grade column, and what they are saying to us is to convert that grade column from float to integer. Okay. Um, as far as I remember, we have one function by the name of as type. So might be that will be helpful here. So what we have is students of grade, and what I want to do is I want to say students of grade dot as type. I want to convert it into integer. And finally, again, I'll return students. I feel it should work. Let's see if we'll get some error. Uh, let it run. Okay. For now, it is accepted. Let's see whether it is passing all test cases or not. And boom, it is passing. Very good. Great. Superb. So whenever you want to convert any type conversion, do remember that we have a function in Pandas framework as type, and you can consider that to do the typecasting. Perfect. Now let's move ahead. Filling the missing data. Okay. We have to fill the missing values as 0 in the quantity column. Interesting. So in this specific case where we have to do the imputation with 0, what do you think should be the function we can use? As far as I remember, we have a function by the name of fill NA, which automatically fills the values with 0. But the question is, can we apply that on a specific column named quantity? Because we don't want to apply for the entire data frame that we have, because they're focusing just on the quantity. So maybe what we can do is we can say products of quantity, specifically I will picked up, and I will say products of quantity dot fill NA to fill the null values with zeros. And if I just return the products here, will that fulfill my results or the expected outcome? Let's see. Oh, it is accepted. Let's try to see whether it is submitted or not. And great, superb. So this is how basically you have to, think and have a thought process that how basically you can do this conversions. Till so far, you can see, right? We have finished our 4 modules. Oh, superb. Data structure, inspection, selection, and cleansing. Now, the only 2 modules left are reshaping and the advanced techniques. And let's see whether we will be able to fulfill that part as well or not. So, if in all these questions at your side, when you are solving these problems, you are facing a trouble, because everyone knows their own level of knowledge, what they have currently. The good thing is you can improvise. You can just spend more time if you feel that, somehow you are facing the troubles in terms of solving these problems. As you can see, it's all the easy level problems. And if you're facing a trouble here itself, how will you able to approach towards the hard level problems or the medium level problems, right? So very good platform again, I would say, just to check that whatever knowledge you have taken is up to the mark or not. Because whatever theoretical subjects you will study, at the end of the day, if you will not able to implement the stuffs, it doesn't make sense to the interviewer. So specifically for the interview cracking part per se, an amazing platform, right? Let's move ahead. We have 2 data frames, df1 and df2. Oh, we have to combine these 2 data frames vertically into 1 data frame. Okay. So there is a function which I remember, which is concat. And what we can do is we can take frames where we have a list of df1 and df2, which we want to combine. And we can pass these frames and we can make it as a concatenated df. And I think we can return simply this one if it will works fine. Concatenated underscore DF. Let's see whether this will pass the test cases or not. Let's try to submit this. Working absolutely fine. Yes, correct. So let's move ahead to the next question. It will be an interesting one. I feel so. So we will be having a reshape of data. Write a solution to pivot the data so that each row represents temperature for a specific month and each city is a separate column. It's a very interesting thing, right? See, whenever you want to restructure your data in a given data frame, there is a method called as pivot in a Pandas framework. There is one more method called as pivot underscore table. If you want to do any aggregation on your data frame and then do the restructuring of that, getting that aggregated output, go with pivot underscore table. So if I'll just showcase you the syntax of this pivot function in the, not pivot table, as I told you, pivot table is another thing, pivot in Pandas. So this is the method name. So here you can see, right? We have columns, index, values. So specifically what you have to do here is you can use that thing, because here we don't want to do any aggregation. We just have to do the restructuring. Now there are multiple things which we have to take care of. So here we will be having a data frame called as weather. Dot, I will use the pivot function. I want to restructure it on the basis of what? What is the index values I want? As they have said, index is a specific month. You can see in the output itself. So mention the index as month. Acha, what are the columns are they expecting? They're expecting the columns as the names of the city. And what are the values they're expecting inside the restructured table? They're expecting the temperature value, if I'm not wrong. Right? Temperature. And then you can just store it inside a weather and you can return this. Run this code. And it's so simple. But it is simple for those people who already aware about this pivot function, right? So basically restructuring happened on the basis of the index value or the row value as the month, column value as the city, and the values inside that particular table will be temperature. Perfect. Let's jump to the next question. Again, very interesting method of melt. I think it will be used here. So here they are saying that you have to reshape the data so that each row represents the sales data for our product in a specific quarter. Makes sense? So we have products in the very first column. We have a quarter with the quarter names. And at the end, we have the sales. So what is the meaning of a melt? See, whenever you will be having, you can say, a data frame available in a horizontal manner, and you want to melt that down to a vertical manner, right? So that is the meaning of a melt, right? There is a function which we have called as melt in a Pandas framework. Again, any of the function, if you are not aware of, please go today and check it out. That is the beauty about this video. So Pandas melt documentation, you can just refer it down. You can see this function is useful to massage a data frame into a format where one or more columns are identifier variables, while all other columns consider the measured variables. I'll showcase you how basically this will be done. So what will happen is, in this specific case, in this specific question, what we will do is, we will try to obviously can say melt df, which is equal to, I'm just checking it out side by side that whether the recordings are doing it properly or not. So we have this function called as melt, right? I should say report dot melt. Now what we're supposed to do here, I think the parameters that we have is, okay, PDs will be here, and what is the frame you want to melt is the report. Now there are three variables that you can see. One is ID underscore wheres. Can you see? ID underscore wheres. What are the variables you want to specify here? So as per the products, I want the melting to be done. That is the, you can say index values or the records in the very first column that we have. After that, what is the variable name in our question? It is quarter, as we can see. And what are the values we have as the final thing? Is the sales. So I think we have a variable name values, which is sales in our case. And finally, we can return the value of melt df. Let me just verify. Values is the value underscore name. Sorry. It will be value underscore name. Perfect. And once you run this code, there is some issue. Spelling mistake is there. Let's try to run this again. Melt df. And now it is working perfectly fine. So I think this is the way we supposed to solve this problem. And this is where we reach to the last problem of our today's session, where we have a method chaining. Let's see what they want to say here. Write a solution. We want to list the names of the animals which weighs strictly more than 100 kilograms. Oh, okay. So what they're saying is, find the heavy animals. Find the heavy df is equals to, you have to apply the constraint on this, obviously, animals, where you are saying that access the records where the animals weight is strictly more than 100, right? That is something which you want. And then they are saying return the animals sorted by weight, sort underscore, I think, values, and the value of the ascending is equals to false, because we have to sort it in the form of a descending order, right? So I think this should work fine. Now, this particular find heavy df will contain all the records, right? But what we want is only the name. So what we can do is we can take, as per this constraint, the value of name, and then this name is a series column. We have to convert again back to a data frame, otherwise it will show an error. So what we will do is we will try to convert that into a data frame. We will say name, and finally I think we can be in a situation to, I would say, return this name. Let's see whether we will be able to pass test cases or not. So first of all, filtration will happen. Okay, one thing is wrong here, what we have done. What is the error? Wait. So this is df we are using, data frame. Let me run this again. Running fine, right? We are using df here. Initially, I think I have initialized a variable name find heavy animal, but then df we are using here. Change to df. Here you can see now it is working perfectly fine. So here you can clearly observe that we will be able to get filtration, first of all, as per the weights. After that, what we have done is we have tried to use the data frame of name as a filtration part. After that, we have tried to take the data frame, and so basically what is happening now in this data frame, once you will do the sorting, you will be able to get almost all the records. What are the records I'm talking about here? You can clearly see we will be able to get the name, we will be able to get the species, we will be able to get the age and the weight, right? So when this will happen, we want only the names as an output. If you will not filter it out with respect to the name part, it will give you everything on the basis of the weight having the value more than 100. So what we have done is we have just taken a one specific column. I hope you all know that whenever you are taking any one specific column, you have internally converted your data into a series, right? Taking that one specific column. But what they want is that they want us to return the answer in the form of a data frame itself, right? You can see that the answer is in the form of a data frame. So that is why we have done one more conversion. So here we have done the conversion from series to the data frame, right? And with this, we will be able to finish all our questions today. Very good. So here you can see, right? All the questions are finished now. This is something which I just want to showcase you today. I hope that this particular series of questions which we have solved today will help you out. And wherever you are feeling that you are not comfortable with any specific question, see how basically I have solved that, what kind of approach I have applied to solve that question. And I hope that this will be really helpful for everyone to, shortlist it in your upcoming interview rounds. So I hope that you have enjoyed this video a lot. Just please make sure that you will hit like button, you will subscribe to this channel and share this video with each and everyone. Comment it down. This really takes a lot of effort to curate these kind of videos. You can see it's a very big long form of videos which I am trying to curate on this channel, and I really need support from your side. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It really means a lot to me. And with this, I'll see you all very soon in the upcoming video with another amazing content. Bye bye everyone, and see ya.